Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And I thought tonight's show was okay. Uh, wasn't great or perfect by any means, though, but it was just okay. The show opened with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out. You remember last week when Paul Heyman was on the phone. It was like tell Brock Lesnar to come next week, and that's what happened. Brock Lesnar started off Raw, him and Paul Heyman. Heyman says that it's Joe's day of reckoning, and he introduces Lesnar, and Heyman says that last week he showed Samoa Joe respect, but he took him out because Joe put Heyman in the coquina clutch and made Heyman pass out. And Heyman says that Brock Lesnar has a problem with Samoa Joe because Joe attacked Heyman last week. Heyman then calls Joe a punk and a dog, and he says that Joe will not get the coquina clutch on Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. And Samoa Joe comes out. He gets in the ring. Both of them are staring down in the middle of the ring. And then him and Lesnar get into a awesome brawl. It was a really good brawl in the ring between both Lesnar and Joe. And Kurt Angle ends up sending security out to break up Joe and Lesnar. Lesnar then starts taking out the security. And Kurt sends down some of the superstars from the Raw locker room out to separate both Joe and Lesnar. And people were like saying to them, let them fight. And it was a crazy fight. But it was a pretty good opening segment with Lesnar and Heyman, coming out, Heyman on the mic, and the awesome brawl between Joe and Lesnar. So because this is a dream match, this is a dream match that people wanted to see. Samoa Joe and Lesnar having a match. But yeah, it was a good opening segment to Raw. And then after that, we had Elias Samson in the ring, just singing about Ambrose again. Pretty boring. And then, Dean Ambrose comes out, sets up the match. First match was Elias Samson versus Dean Ambrose. It was a good match. Dean Ambrose gave it all. He got in the ring with Elias Samson. Elias Samson, trying to take out Ambrose. He had the Miz come out, trying to interfere, trying to, cause Dean Ambrose to lose the match. And then you had Ambrose go out and push Miz into the barricade, which eventually led to Elias Samson to take Ambrose out. And so Elias Samson won the match with a rolling cutter on Ambrose to score the win. But all in all, it was a good match, in my opinion. And then after that, you had Goldust cutting one of his promos once again about R-Truth. Like I said, really loving these Goldust promos. Good throwback to mid-late 90s Goldust type promos that he used to cut back in the day. So yeah, pretty good promo that he cut on R-Truth once again. Then after that, you had Kurt Angle and The Miz backstage. Kurt Angle was mad at Miz about what happened out there during the match with Ambrose and Samson, and Miz says that Angle needs to do something with Dean Ambrose. And Kurt Angle tells Miz that he isn't going to do anything to Ambrose, and that Miz has to do it by himself. So it was a okay backstage segment between Angle and Miz. And then we saw Noam Dar in the locker room with Cedric Alexander. Cedric says to Noam that he's done fighting him, and that Cedric is done with Alicia Fox. Noam has Alicia Fox on FaceTime just talking, and Alicia says that if Cedric has something to say to her, that Cedric should say it to her face. So it eventually ends up setting up the match, Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar. Yeah, that's what the next match was. Basically, this was just a 2-second match. Just Cedric Alexander won the match with the lumbar check on Noam Dar to win. Pretty much it was a nothing match, just 2-second win for Cedric Alexander. What was really funny is you still had Alicia Fox on FaceTime with Noam Dar. She was on the Titantron, just watching the match. So it wasn't really nothing. It was really nothing of a match. And then you had Bray Wyatt cutting like a little promo, and he comes out to the ring, sets up for a segment with Bray Wyatt, saying that Seth Rollins will be punished and that he's got all the answers to Seth. And Seth Rollins comes out, says that the only reason Bray cost him his match against Samoa Joe last week is because Seth called Bray some names, and he was calling Bray Wyatt a false prophet, and he tells Bray that it's that Seth is speaking the truth to him, and Seth also calls Bray a coward, and he wants to prove Bray wrong. Bray ends up saying that when he looks at Seth, he sees a man beneath him, and then the lights go out, and then they come back on, and Bray disappears. Then the lights go off again, and we see Bray mysteriously show up on the Titantron, and Bray tells Seth that to face his fear and run. So it was a okay segment with Bray and Seth. So then after that, we had the Hardy Boyz being interviewed about heading into the rematch with Cesaro and Sheamus, which is a 2 out of 3 falls match, which was for the Raw Tag Team titles. Both of them say that they have both Sheamus and Cesaro's number, and that they're going to break the bar and take back the tag team titles. Pretty good interview with the Hardys. And then the next match was Apollo Crews versus Kalisto. This was a meh match. Just had Apollo Crews win the match. We had Akira Tozawa, in the crowd watching the match, because Titus wants Akira to join the Titus brand. So Apollo Crews won the match with the Blue Thunder Driver on Kalisto. It was a meh match. Nothing special. So yeah. And then after that, you had Heath, Slater, and Rhino backstage. Miz comes there. Miz wants both of them to join his entourage, probably against Dean Ambrose. And he wants Heath to join. And he says, Heath says that he used to go to the WWE events, and he was dreaming of someday wanted to become the Intercontinental Champion. Miz tells Heath that to join him in that he will get a Intercontinental Championship match someday down the line. Rhino says to Miz that he's got a tag team partner, which of course is him, and that he tells Miz that he's going to Kurt Angle and that they are going to have a tag team match tonight. So it was okay backstage segment of the whole. You had Rhino eating cheese and crackers, and he stuffed a whole bunch of them in his mouth, which was disgusting but funny in a way. So then after that, you had Alexa Bliss come out saying that tonight she has no obligation of putting the women's title, the Raw Women's title, on the line tonight. And she goes on to talk about Nia. Nia comes out and says to Alexa that Alexa promised a title shot against her. Alexa says that she wanted to have a classic match between her and Nia, and she didn't get that moment because of Dana Brooke and Mickie James. Both of them end up coming out, Dana Brooke and Mickie James. Mickie calls Alexa a dwarf, and that she has a long way to go to beat. That Alexa has a long way to go to beat her streak as women's champion. Mickie's streak as a women's champion. And Dana says that her and Mickie have a problem with Nia Jax. And then we get Emma returning. Jeez. Saying to Alexa that she's gonna take the top of the women's division. Sasha Banks ends up coming out saying that Alexa just wants the spotlight on her, and Sasha tells Alexa how a boss throws a party, and she ends up hitting Alexa, and all of them in the ring go at it. Alexa, Nia, Dana, Mickie, Sasha, they all go at it, and eventually leads to a 6-women's tag match. Dana Brooke, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss, Emma, and Nia Jax. It was a okay match, although you had Alexa later on just not wanting anything to do with the match, which eventually gave Dana Brooke, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks the win because Sasha applied the bank statement on Emma. So, but it was okay match. So, but yeah, Emma comes back and she loses a match. Oh God. And then after that match, it was Corey Graves interviewing Bayley about her match from Extreme Rules, just talking about that. Bayley tells Corey that she's not here to bruise someone. She's here to put smiles on faces, and she says she's here to be her, and that she's she gives everything to the fans, and she's not going to change her her personality, and that she's going to do the best for her. She also tells Corey that she wants to be the best and take back the Raw Women's title, and that she wants to please the fans and make them happy. And Bayley gives Corey Graves a hug, and what was really funny is you see this kind of awkward face on Corey when Bayley goes to hug him, and what was really funny is Corey Graves ends up going, I need a cigarette, which was funny. So, but it was a pretty satisfying interview between Corey Graves and Bayley. So, and then after that was Heath, Slater, and Rhino versus The Miz and a mystery partner of The Miz, which eventually, what was really funny was Miz's mystery partner was the bear that the guy dressed up in the bear suit from last week that Miz gave the skull crushing finale to during his celebration. But it was just kind of a weird. It was a weird match because the Miz's mystery partner just had you know the guy in the bear suit being taken out of. Eventually, was unmasked, and then you had later on, someone dressed up in the bear suit later on, which eventually was Dean Ambrose, because you saw a different height vantage of one of the guy who was originally dressed in the bear suit, and so it gave Heath, Slater, and Rhino the win because of Dean Ambrose, because Ambrose hit the dirty deeds on Miz, giving Heath, Slater, and Rhino the win, because Heath Slater ended up pinning the Miz thanks to Ambrose. So it was just a weird match, in my opinion. Then after that, it was supposed to be Neville versus Rich Swann, but Neville ends up attacking Rich Swann. He says that TJP, Apollo, TJP, Austin Aries, and now Rich Swann are the ones that he took out. And then he gives advice to Akira Tozawa, and Neville tells Akira Tozawa to train carefully. So, but it was all right. In my opinion, just Neville cutting a segment. And then after that was Cesaro and Sheamus being interviewed about the Hardys, and they say that they studied them, they studied the Hardy Boyz, and they hold up the Hardys book, and excuse me, and they are going to write. They say that they are going to write a sequel called Exist to Retire, because they are going to set the bar and win the match, still retain the tag team titles. And then after that, it was Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Big Cass. We see Big Cass get attacked once again. Big Cass tells Enzo that he wants to go on, because Enzo was like, "Oh, should you go on and have this match?" And Big Cass was like, "Oh, let's have this match." And Gallows and Anderson are in the ring. They end up making fun of Big Cass because he got attacked again, and they called Big Cass a nerd. And then eventually leads into the match. They have the match, which was okay, nothing great or perfect, but Gallows and Anderson end up winning the match with the Magic Killer. They hit the Magic Killer on Enzo. Then after the match, you had Big Show come out. Gallows and Anderson retreat out of the ring. Big Show ends up helping Enzo. Big Cass ends up getting up, and you see like a kind of a jealous kind of look on Big Cass's face when Big Show goes to help up Enzo. So yeah, so Big Cass was a little upset about that from the look on his face. So, but it was okay. Gallows and Anderson, Enzo, and Big Cass. So, and then after that, you had R-Truth cutting the promo about Goldust. Really, it was a cool promo. Every week from R-Truth about Goldust. Then you had Enzo thanking Big Show about him coming out there and helping him. Enzo goes to question Big Show if he attacked Big Cass, and it kind of sets Big Show off a little there. Big Show ends up calling Big Cass soft. So it was a little okay. Little backstage segment. And then we have an interview with Samoa Joe, he was being interviewed about Brock Lesnar, and he goes on to say that Great Balls of Fire, he will put Lesnar to sleep in the Coquina Clutch, and walk out as Universal Champion. Pretty pretty cool interview with Samoa Joe. And then we had the main event, which was Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Hardy Boyz in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Raw Tag Team titles. I gotta say, it was a pretty good match, but in the end, it was kind of a bullshit end, because Cesaro and Sheamus got the first fall, because Sheamus pinned Jeff Hardy, so they got the first fall, and then we had the Hardys get their first fall. They tie it up. Matt Hardy ties it up by hitting a twist of fate on Cesaro. And then the last fall was a bullshit end, because the match ended in a double count out. So Cesaro and Sheamus still retained the Raw Tag Team titles. So it ended in a draw, in a double count out draw. So yeah, but all in all, it was a pretty good match, but up until that bullshit end, in my opinion. So yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. So until the next video, which I'll see you all back tomorrow night for my SmackDown review. So until tomorrow night, until that review, I'll see you all later. Bye.